Hi there fabric jugglers, it's Babs here from Fiery Phoenix, and this morning I'm here on a lovely sunny day, and it's not raining for once, to talk to you about the markings on pattern pieces. There are some standardised markings which are used across all patterns. Now they're not all necessarily printed on every single pattern, but they are a standard set of marks that where you see them on patterns, whether they're made by independent pattern designers or whether they're created by mass marketing, mass pattern producing companies, they all mean the same thing and they all indicate how you work with your pattern. So this tutorial is a simple rundown of what those pattern markings are and how you work with them. To begin with, we'll look at the preparation marks on your patterns. So not every pattern marking means that you need to cut, chop, slice, pin or attach something to it. Sometimes those markings are simply there for you to help size initially. The most obvious of those would be the cutting lines, which hopefully will be appearing here somewhere for you to have a look at. Unless you've got a layered PDF pattern, almost every pattern that you get is multi-sized, which means that you have different either colours or dashed, dotted, solid lines, or a combination of the two if that's a PDF pattern, to indicate which size line you need to cut for either a different age if it's a small child, or a different size if it is a Little Mrs pattern. So that's a size 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, all the way up to potentially 24, I think I've seen on some patterns. And so you need to work out your size, find the corresponding line on your pattern and either highlight that with a pen, a nice big bold highlighting pen will work wonders, or you can then trace out that particular line, or you can cut along that line so that you know that the pattern pieces you've got work for the size of garment that you're trying to create. There are also alteration lines which show you where you can extend or reduce the length of a waist or an arm or a leg potentially on a pattern for you. And there are also a solid line which denote the waistline for your garment, for a top or a dress, so that if you are creating a pinned version, you can see where that pin line, that waistline falls on your body or on your model, and then you can either adjust the length as necessary to bring that into line to be a correctly fitting garment. You will see extension marks which look like little crosshairs actually, and also shaded out areas. Again, these should be appearing up to the side here, which show you where it's safe and it's best suggested or recommended that you extend or reduce the length of a garment. In terms of placing your garment on some fabric or pattern pieces on the fabric, you get the straight of grain or grain line mark, which is an arrow with double head, and that actually should follow the line of the grain of your fabric. And then there's also the fold line, which is a sort of bracket shape with two arrows on the bottom, and that tells you that that's where you should be placing that edge of the pattern piece along a fold in the fabric that you're cutting. So they're the preparation marks, if you like, and then you've actually got the construction markings, which tell you how to put the pattern together and what sort of techniques you need to be using when you're making the garment. So the most common are notch marks. So they're sort of double-headed diamonds. They can be squares, they can be circles, and they run along the edge of the cutting line, and you will need to mark a corresponding notch into your fabric piece, and that allows you to match up those notches when you are attaching bodice pieces or sleeves, for example. And again, it could be small circles, it could be squares. It's not always the diamonds that you get for those notch marks, but they all mean that you need to line up those elements. Dots can be used either completely filled in, or just circles can be used to show the position of pockets, zippers, buttons, eyelets, the hook and eyelet, or loops. So they can show you where those need to be positioned within your garment, so that you would need to transfer, and I'll do a separate tutorial, not just talking about transferring markings, but actually showing you the different techniques for transferring markings across. You can also get, it looks like some sort of electrical symbol, I always thought when I was little, for buttons and buttonholes, which show you the length and orientation of the buttonholes that's been suggested for that garment. And it could be a solid line or it could be a dotted line, but it always looks like something that should be on some sort of circuit diagram. And finally, you get these sort of strange, I'm trying to think of a technical name, rhomboid, sort of diamond shapes or half diamonds, which indicate dart positions. And again, I'll do a separate tutorial on how to actually create a dart, which is fairly straightforward, but it can seem quite daunting to begin with. And you need to mark across on the patterns the 4 points of the dart so that you're actually making sure that the dart is the correct size that you're looking for. And that's pretty much it in terms of markings on patterns, but they can look very confusing. And when you see the pattern laid out, the pattern piece with all these marks and diamonds and circles and squares and what look like electrical components and crosshairs, it can be quite daunting. But that's what each of those symbols mean. I've also got a written explanation if my waffle got a little bit confusing for you. There's also a written explanation, so there's a link to that in the description below, not the tutorial below, the description below. So hopefully pop along, have a look at that if you need to refer back. Hopefully that will be of use to you. If the video is of use, then please give it a thumbs up. Have a look around the rest of the site. Have a look around the rest of the channel. If you've got any requests for tutorials, please let me know. If this is your first time here, hi, we're quite a friendly bunch. Pop along over to the Starting to Sew group if you're a beginner sewer and you want to meet some like-minded people. That's on Facebook. There'll be a link in the description again. And I release videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all being well. And the easiest way to keep up to date is to subscribe. But if not, pop on back and check each Tuesday and Thursday to see what's been added to the playlists. I organise everything on the channel within playlists, so hopefully that will make it a bit easier for you to find what you're looking for. And as I've already said, if there's something that you want that isn't in here already, then please drop me a message or leave me a comment to let me know and I'll add it to the recording schedule. Hopefully, if this was your first time here, we'll see you again soon. But if not, bye for now.